Hello my loves, I'm Ellie Frost. Thank you so much for being on my channel. We are talking about the multidimensional approach to rapidly and radically transforming your life during and after narcissistic abuse. This video is about breaking toxic relationship dynamics after narcissistic abuse. Now, I don't just give you everything everyone else does because I will give you the tools to radically change your life, right? And some of what I say is going to trigger people and they're just going to unfollow me, and that's okay, right? Because I really do want to bring something different to the table, something that enables you to have an absolutely fantastic life, no matter how old you are, what you've been through, or how traumatized you've been. So some of it is going to be triggering. Yesterday I made a video on boundaries, right? And I was saying the truth, which is when we've been highly traumatized. Well, let's start here. When you've been in a narcissistically abusive relationship, you're basically living with a poisonous snake or around poisonous snakes. There is no way that you can be in that level of toxicity without picking up toxic habits yourself. You might not know about them, but this is how it works, right? And so I said about boundaries yesterday was a lesson that I've had to really understand boundaries. I've got very good boundaries and they're beautiful boundaries. They're not mean, they're not aggressive in terms of how I handle it, but they're absolute. Because a boundary is where the line is, right? And I demonstrate boundaries in everything I do and teach and hold, because I couldn't be sovereign and not be a great example of a model of how you navigate boundaries in your life. And what was so beautiful to me was when I was saying, if you use your pain to get something from someone, if you use your story and give everyone all the details of your story to get out of a contract, to get a different deal, to get a change in how you get to bend the rules, you are manipulating them. What was amazing to me was people writing to me and saying, I didn't mean to do that, but I can see your point. Yeah, that to me shows power. That's people who have got power, because instead of being triggered and just being like, oh, fuck you, you don't understand me, I don't want to hear it, I've had a hard time, right? Because that's how we act. We go through a lot of hard times, and then we have a subconscious attitude that the world now owes us a favour, and that we should be able to get away with things that don't respect other people's boundaries because of it. I'm not saying it's fair, but to be an energetic match to our best life possible, we've got to set higher standards. It is powerful when I hear people say to me, I didn't mean to do it that way, but I can see what you're saying. That to me is people who are powerful. Powerful enough to look at themselves, powerful enough to change their life, powerful enough to radically heal and transform. Right? And if we can't look at ourselves, we're not going to be able to create what we want. A lot of you will be stuck in these cycles because you don't know who you are anymore, right? And it's not just what the narcissist has done to you, it's who you've had to become in the process. This is frightening, because the reason a lot of people don't leave isn't just because there's traps, which there are, right? It's because they don't have the personal power to know how to cultivate life on their own. So they'd rather stay in a toxic situation because they don't know yet the tools to create their best life and to be self-sufficient, right? Self-sourcing. If you can get into Sovereign, please join for May. Sovereign is all about this stuff. We don't talk about narcissists in there. I talk about you. I give you the foundation to be a sovereign human being who can manifest, who can create your best life. We talk about boundaries. We look at your values. We look at the standards for your life. I teach you manifestation, and I teach you how to heal and get rid of all trauma in your life. You get a system that you can use over and over again. But that sequence and process is life-changing, right? So it's not just what they've done to you, it's who you've become in the process. And to think we haven't picked up toxic traits would be ignorant, right? This world changes through empathy. But that it can only happen when we really understand what that means. Now, we've got to be emotionally responsible and empathetic. Empathy isn't like the same as sympathy, yeah? Empathy is an awareness of the whole, the collective. not just our intentions, but our impact on other people, right? And that part requires us to be more self-aware. Most of us don't even feel equipped to create the life we want after these cycles. It's very scary to think about, well, how can I trust myself now in relationships? How do I trust myself with my own finances, right? We've got habits and ways of being that we've had to adopt to survive in those situations that are toxic, completely toxic. The way we deal with ourselves, our relationship with ourselves isn't very healthy during those cycles. It can't be, because you have to detach from yourself, right? But also the way we deal with other people, because we've not been taught how to regulate our emotions, which is what I teach you in Sovereign. So what we tend to do is want to vomit them on other people, because we get so stressed and like we just want to get it out of us, right? And all you're doing is energetically vomiting on someone and putting them in that energy, and you do not get healed from that. I teach my clients this all the time. Even if you go to therapy and just vomit out, right, you'll feel a temporary connection from that. You'll still feel some relief in the moment, but it won't. You'll notice this. How often does it heal you? How often does that release? It doesn't. That's why the deep trauma release work I do in Sovereign works, because you're not just by speaking about it, it doesn't resolve it. It gives you temporary relief and connection, but it still lives inside you. I get this shit out of you, right? And then I give you a framework where you get to build your life, so that you're confident. I talk about the emotional crash that happens when we leave a narcissist, as all the trauma hits us and all the feelings that we haven't processed hits us. But moving into the future is an ongoing journey. The most healing thing is when we start navigating life again and are brave enough to go for it. Yeah? And that, even for me, I still regulate myself as I go into the future in bigger and bigger goals. It was a huge deal for me to share my stories about this. I know that some people are not going to like me. It took me a lot of personal development to be able to be okay with that. Yeah, I've been horrendously bullied and scapegoated and criticised, right? I wouldn't have said that it would have been my ideal situation to put myself out there in a bigger way at certain points, because I didn't want that visibility, because I wouldn't have been able to handle it. Now I can, yeah? And actually I don't get so much of it coming at me, but there are some people that get extremely irritated by me just because they don't like people doing well, doing good things. It irritates them. Narcissists are takers, and they just like, there's so many people in your life that it's got nothing to do with you while they're going to come at you. But when we're sovereign in our own truth and in ourselves and willing to develop and grow, that's power. Power to say, I love the way, so many people have just interacted with me. I just feel power. When I say to someone, look, I love you, but I can't have you keep messaging me because it's not really what this group is for, and people respect it, I'm like, power, power, power. They're not just offended. The people I see here are the strongest people in the world. Not only have we gone through terrible things, but we're willing to radically grow. That's what I wished for, right? So sometimes that just blows my mind. And that if you're that kind of person, don't underestimate your power. Because I know that was the part of me, right, that when I was then future focused. So the problem with trauma is you get stuck and frozen in your current reality and keep going back to the past, keep looping to the past. I reset you so that you start looking at your future. I teach you how to invest in your future as a majority. I can tell when I work with clients just from where they put their money, their time and their energy, whether they're stuck in the past, just locked in their present, or whether they care about their future. Future investment doesn't just mean a savings account. It means investing in the person I want to become, because that gap closes very soon. You couldn't have told me 3 years ago, or when I was going through the worst of these cycles, that, how big my abundance would be, how big my transformation would be, right? I was trapped. Yeah. Now I live in a place that blows my mind. I am doing things that sometimes are scary because it feels unknown. I'm willing to dance with the unknown in a beautiful way. This is what I can teach you. The most exciting thing in our life will be our willing to allow the universe to manifest and create with us. But if we're so traumatized, all we're going to cling on to is safety and comfort. That's not a life well lived. Just in safety and comfort, you know? So we want to allow in a little bit of excitement. But when we're traumatized, excitement just feels like fear, right? And there's a balance to this, yeah? But when you can open up again, I do a lot of heart opening and healing in Sovereign as well. When you're open to that, now you can create such a beautiful life. You can't do it when you're traumatized. It will just send you over the edge. So the nervous system regulation, there are tools on this channel, will help you. But like, you're not meant to get stuck where you are. You're not meant this, you know, it's like the narcissistic abuse cycle is not meant to define you, but you have got some personal development work to do. That's why my methods are not just healing. That's why they're not just like, you know, focused on one thing. I use an integrated approach because the personal development is going to enable you to become who you need to be to have your best life. And you can radically change and transform, yeah? In ways that you will not even comprehend, faster than you can imagine, peacefully, regulated, right? When you do the things I teach you. So we're playing for quality of life. We're not playing for survival of the ordeal. It's not even your life back. It's a better life. It's a more aligned life. It's an integrated life where everything you've been through is integrated, but not defining you and not ruling you anymore. This is what we're talking about here. There are things that we have to understand, conscious brain, subconscious brain, energetic field, to bring this along. You can't bypass your own healing and get the things and be happy because you'll repeat cycles. You've been in a poisonous environment. Don't think you're not tainted by it. But if you are committed to your growth, not just your healing, your growth, and I heal and expand people at the same time. Sovereign is about healing, and everything I do is healing and expansion. You don't wait until you're healed to expand, because healing is a lifelong journey to a large extent, but you certainly don't need trauma in the way, right? So please comment about your topics. Please like, subscribe and share my channel. For the right people, this information will really be good for them. For the wrong ones, it won't. That's okay with me, right? If you can get into Sovereign, get into it. It's a life-changing event. 1st of May, the warm-up starts. Other than that, lots of love, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.